Alright, let's talk about some of that pick slanting stuff we discussed and some muting and whatnot. Um, so with this guy, that was addressing the issue that was happening in the 4-note coil. It's a bit louder than I expected. Um, so, the idea, and you're basically doing it yesterday, but just, this is all reminder stuff just in case something's forgotten. Let me get a close-up of my hand here while I do that. I'll try to anyway, if the cord is long enough. So, doing it this way, I mean, if I can kind of like move my hand up and out of the way, I guess do that scoop thing Fred Grady was talking about. But I can get up and out of the strings that way. If I don't, then I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't look like it's showing up too well. That sucks. But basically, I'm stuck in the string right there. So it is possible to get out of the string, so long as you kind of have to like move your hand and scoop it out. So again, upward slant here, down, up. If you move your hand like up and out, you can get away from the string, but it's not very practical. So when I'm playing at like a slower speed, I feel like my pick is fairly neutral. I'm not really this way, I'm not this way too much. Ugh. But if I start going faster, then I'll start to be slanted one way or the other a bit more aggressively. So let's see how my hand changes through different speeds here. It will be subtle. I don't know how well I'll be able to hit 180. But see, it's 60 here. I'm trying to watch myself in the camera at the same time. It looks like I automatically want to start with kind of an upward slant. See, it's just a little bit. But as soon as I start playing, it looks like I start to turn this way a little bit. Like it almost automatically wants to go that way. Notice how I'm doing this motion. So there's a little bit of thumb going on there. And it's basically like this joint is pushing down. So it goes down for the downstroke and comes back up for the upstroke. And there's definitely some wrist action going on at the same time. Let's go to 80. I'll go by 20s and see what happens here with pick position and all that. So yeah, just remember, when your hand wants to do something a little different, when you get faster and faster, let it do what it wants to do. As long as it sounds good, that's all that really matters. So 120 there is starting to get a little more difficult. I got to concentrate a bit more. I feel like I have to be more aggressive with the downward slant at this point. So one thing that's tough about this is in that downward slant, that's typically your palm muted or your palm muting pick position. So in doing this, you don't want to palm mute it as you go because that doesn't sound so good. So it's like you have to get in this position and then kind of, you definitely can't see that, but it's like I'm trying to raise this part of my hand just off the string a little bit. So what might be helpful in this position is using your pinky to anchor. So I know there's some teachers, some guitar players feel that anchoring any finger is a big no-no. Well, to that I say, well, what about Michelangelo Badio, the guy who can play guitar with both hands, crazy fast and accurate, far better than most people could ever hope to be. He anchors with 3 fingers and basically plays guitar, with the pick, pointing this way. I can't do what he does. It's so weird. But yeah, he basically does it like that. So, and I guess he also does a lot of upward slant. He does 2-way slanting and whatnot. But yeah, when he's anchored, he's got 3 fingers down here, which is kind of neat because it kind of helps you keep your pick in a very efficient depth of the strings. But, now that I've been playing for over 20 years, I'm not about to relearn that. However, in something like this particular riff, I do find having my pinky down there to help have good pick depth is helpful. So let's try one for you again. Yeah, so I am slanting downward there, but the pinky is also helping me keep my palm or the side of my hand from muting the E string and the B string. Because if I get rid of that, then my hand wants to go right on the strings. But if I push my palm away with my fingers here, or at least one finger, I can remain at the downward slant and not mute the strings that I'm trying to play. So I'm able to mute the low strings to get rid of unwanted noise, but the strings I'm playing on don't get muted. Alright, let's see what it looks like at 160. Yeah, let's see if I can pull off a 180 here. Ugh. I can tell I'm swiping through the strings a little bit. Not so much there. Okay. So I'm definitely getting to a speed where I need to be very careful, making sure I'm muting more with the left hand. But also, this is something I haven't practiced really, doing like a 2-note per string deal. It's just, not something I've really wanted to do, I guess. Haven't written anything that would require a lot of practice with it. But anyway, so yeah, that my 180 there could definitely be cleaned up some. But hopefully that gives you some insight as to how the pick can look, or maybe should look, while you're doing that. And then take advantage of the anchor point if you haven't done that before. Just experiment with it, see what feels right. If you don't need to anchor, then then don't do it. But when things start getting tricky, might be beneficial to give that a shot. All right, number 2. Yes, bouncing the finger, string to string, quick changes. So I look at it, or one way I look at it is like if you're changing chords, you gotta jump the whole hand over for something like that. Well, in this case, you just one finger. Trying to think of anything really significant about this one. For this, I would still just do downstrokes on everything. For me, that makes it a lot easier. If you still feel more comfortable alternate picking on that every downbeat, that's fine. But I think with this, you know exactly what to do. No real tricks, just got to jump that hand over. You can definitely get these things fast. So yeah, just keep working that up from 60 to, and if you get to 240, let me know. That would be, so once you get to 240, then you can start working on sextuplets instead of the triplets. This guy, we talked about a bit of slanting that you started to do. So you'll have that little twitch happen where when you go up to the next string, your forearm will rotate a little bit to get past the string, so it's not hitting the E string as you go from the E string to the A string. So let's get another close-up here so you can see what happens as I get faster. So when I'm playing really fast, I'm using what Troy calls swiping. Others always call it muting. But I'm muting with the left hands in such a way that, like when I go up to this next string, I'm basically doing that. I'm striking through both the E and the A string. So it's definitely hitting both strings there. But I only try and do that when I'm going really fast. When it's slower speeds, I'm trying to avoid that. So let's go by 20s again. Sounds like a good idea. So you can see all kinds of small angle changes and whatnot. So at this speed, I'm back to using like a bit of thumb and wrist. But you can definitely see this thumb moving at this speed. And then as I get faster, it becomes more wrist oriented. And then eventually it becomes like a blend of wrist and elbow movement. And then eventually nothing but picking from the elbow. It really depends on what speed I'm at. I don't know exactly where things change. I think sometimes I can get like the thumb movement up to like 160. After that, it starts to blend into more of a wrist thing. And then after 200, the elbow really starts to kick in to help go faster. After like 220, I'm pretty sure it's all elbow at that point. Anyway, we're at 100 now. So I think I definitely did a little quick twitch there to get up over the string. Here comes 180. Yeah, it's definitely wrist movement there. And this part of my hand is a pivot point. So I'm using that on the body of the guitar. So if I was up on the higher strings, then this part of my hand will be anchored on the strings themselves. So on the low strings, it's anchored on the body of the guitar. On the higher strings, when I'm playing the higher strings, my hand's anchored on the lower strings to keep it muted, and it just allows you to be able to do this crazy fast picking there. So let's do the 180 again. Definitely utilizing the muting of the left hand for the accidental string hits. Definitely all arm movement at this point. If it looks like my wrist is moving, it's really because of the anchor point. I'm not purposely moving my wrist at all. It's my arm that's moving it. But because of the anchor point, it might look like my wrist is doing something. But it's not. That was 260, and that was like in the realm of like, I think I'm doing 4 notes a click. Let's push it for fun. Yeah, it's complete elbow. I think it started at 240, all elbow. Hey, let's try this. Yeah, those ridiculous speeds, the speeds nobody really, well, I guess you could say nobody needs to be able to do it at. But hey, if you can, it's a lot of fun. It's good for death metal and black metal playing. Yeah, that's all elbow at that point. So if you find like you get to a point and like your arm really wants to tense up in order to start going really crazy fast, go with it. Because you may have noticed like that muscle right there, it pops up when I'm going really, really fast. So it's kind of a necessity to do that. But playing stuff at like 180 beats a minute for 16th notes, which is usually where people want to get. It's like this is where like, you know, the typical fast shreddy guys are playing about at 180. So you don't have to do elbow to get to that point. Some people need to incorporate a bit of that in order to hit those speeds, and that's fine. Yeah. If you have any questions about this stuff, let me know. Good luck this week, and we'll see you again on Monday.